Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, the Lotus Doll Shop's Balanced Lifestyle channel. Thanks for joining me today. If you happen to be new here, I'm Vaughn. Welcome. Guys, today we're going to be doing a little chat. There are some things that have come to light or are coming to light about the entertainment business. And I have been a part of it for quite some time. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about some of my experiences. Before we do that though, I want you, if you are new here, to just subscribe for me. Hit that notification bell so that YouTube can let you know every time I post a new video, and give me a thumbs up. This is going to be a lengthy discussion letting you guys know about some of the things that I have been through and why I did not move forward with certain things, and why I'm doing things independently, and we'll see what happens behind that. Let's just put it like that. So go ahead and do that for me. Let's get started. All right, y'all. So for those who've been watching, you already know that I am a screenwriter. I am also a singer-songwriter, a dancer, and till recently, probably about 2015, 2016, I became a director, producer on my first TV series, which is called Buddy Says. I've been around. I guess I should start back home in New Orleans, where I'm from. I did my first talent show when I was 17. Well, I actually auditioned for a talent show when I was 17. I was really green. I didn't know the business. All I knew was I wanted to sing. I knew I had been writing songs since I was like 14, 15 years old, and the business was something that I wanted to do. I had worked as a backup dancer for a rapper down in New Orleans, and I said, you know what, that's another talent that I have. And I had been dancing during festivals. I was in a dance group back home in New Orleans as well. Some people may know it, some people may not. So when I stood up there, I think I sang, I forget the name of that song, guys. I want to go outside in the rain. Yeah, I forget her name. I love that song. So I auditioned, whatever. Now through that audition, I got my first manager. Guy came up to me after that. And I had done, I got my first manager, good guy. He was putting me in front of the right people. It got me some a studio song with one of the big brass band managers down there. We did that. Now through this whole process, guys, and I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm just going to talk about it, okay? Through this whole process, I was doing, like, when they would have like the big, they call them cattle calls. You know, you go and it's just a bunch of people. If they're looking for actors, if you're looking for singers, all of those kinds of things. So I would go to those, and I remember I was 17, and I was 17 when I did that WYLD. It's a radio station down in New Orleans. When I did that talent show audition, I didn't get into the talent show, but I did, like I said, meet a manager. So another one of the cattle calls that I went to, and entertainment, the business is weird. But this experience was my first understanding of how a lot of times they want you to exchange yourself for fame. Let's just put it like that. So I'm standing in line, and I'm, minding my business. I'm kind of humming, going over the things in my head over and over. This guy comes up to me. Little guy, couldn't be a little bit more tall than me, and he had on one of these. I think it was it looked like an orange zoot suit. You know how guys were wearing those suits with those really big blazers. It kind of looked like they just poured him into it. He just anyway. So he comes up to me and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" Like that. And I was like, "Okay, hi, I'm cool." And I'm thinking he's one of the people in the cattle call. No, that's not what it was. Not at all. So he comes up to me and he says, "Wow," he says, "You're really, you're a pretty girl." Like that. I was like, "Oh, thank you." That's the normal thing you do when somebody compliments you. You say, "Okay, well, thanks." So he says, "You know what? I'm doing a movie," like that. And naturally, entertainment, I'm thinking, "Oh, okay, so tell me a little bit more about it." He says, "The movie is about," and he started to I started to feel a little weird tension. He's like, "The movie is about a girl, and the girl is coming of age." So immediately, my spidey senses, coming of age, huh? And I said, "Okay, so like, what is it about?" And he was, the whole time he said, "Well, you're a really pretty girl, and I think you could be in a movie. I think you could do it, But he didn't elaborate as to what the movie would be about. So I put my two and two together, and I said, "You know what?" I said, "Nah, it doesn't sound like it's for me. I'm trying to just kind of focus on the singing that I'm trying to do right now, like that." And I said, "You know what? I'm good." He basically, I think I delineated that he was talking about porn. That's what I think he was talking about. And I noticed that he was kind of going through the line, accosting women. "Hey, you pretty, da, da, da." And that's how I put it together. So that was the first experience that I had, which I thought was a little bit weird, but it told me that that's what's up. If I would have been willing to do that real fast, who knows where I would have ended up. But anyway, that was one experience that I had that was kind of creepy. Okay, so this next, I'm in college. Fast forward, school. I went to Xavier, guys, and I became friends with two rappers. Well, one of them, and they were one half of a duo. And me and the dude, we were really cool. I think that he was feeling me like that, but I wasn't feeling him like that. But at the same time, we were artists, we were creatives. And, we would see each other on campus. We would sit down at the student center and kind of like just chop it up. He would be rhyming or whatever, and I'm over here humming to whatever, just being creatives. Now, fast forward, large record label in New Orleans. They happen to have been signed to this label. So my friend, because that's all he was at the time, we were just friends, he said, "Okay," he said, "You know what? We had exchanged numbers, obviously. We went to the same school, used to vibe out and just chill, hang out together." He said, come to the studio." He said, "I got this song that I want you to kind of sing back up. Let me see if you can do something with it, So Went to the studio, met one of the best producers that had y'all jumping up and down for at least 10, 15 years because of this particular rap label. Went to the studio, and he said, this is what I want y'all to say. I'm not going to sing it, y'all, because y'all going to know what the label I'm talking about. And I'm trying not to put people out there like that, but I do have to kind of let y'all know what it was, or what they do, what happens. So I sing back up on this song, very proud of it. You know, I go back and I look at the CD credits. No disrespect to him or whatever, but I didn't see that my name was credited as being a backup singer on this particular song on this CD. So I was feeling a way about that anyway. But you know, lo and behold, this was after the whole situation. But I got my head all blown up. I was like, "Oh, dude, you know, I'm singing back up on such and such. You're young, and you think, you know, from one thing to one thing to one thing, you think it's just gonna automatically pop like that. No, that's not what happens." So, there's another rap duo who had gotten very popular in New Orleans. And one half of that duo, one was a girl, one was a guy, and both of them were outstanding rappers. And this girl and I happened to have gone to high school together. The girl that was one half of the duo had gone to high school together. And the guy ended up signing, but she did not, with the label. So she and I, you know, I think we were on, I saw her, this is at the time I didn't even have a car yet. I think we were on a bus. I think that's what happened. Anyway, it's not about where we were, guys. So she and I got to talking, and I told her, I said, "Ooh, you know, I sang back up on such and such a song or whatever, and I'm gonna get with my manager and see if we can get a deal." You know, like that. And I'm gonna say this nice, y'all. And she looked at me, and she said, "Vaughn," she said, "them ends gonna want F like that." And y'all know what N and F means. I'm not gonna say the word. She said it like that. So I said, "Say that what?" She said, "Girl, they gonna want F like that." And I said, "F what?" And she just gave me this look like, "You stupid?" So basically what she was trying to tell me is, you're not getting in that door unless you do XYZ with this one or that one or whatever. And for me, that was a no-no. That was the first thing that I decided, I'm not doing that for that. Now it's different if I'm liking on a guy and he happens to be in the business, and that's a different thing entirely. But if you're trying to get me to basically prostitute myself in order to get a deal, that's not my wheelhouse. I can't do it. I believe in my dignity. Now here's the thing. Some women are out there and they're used that to get in the door, but the thing is, you always got something hanging over your head. Somebody knows what you did, and you didn't really get there through the normal mediums like everybody, just on your talent alone. So to me, that's not cool. But you know, do you out there, ladies, who you know, who are into that sort of thing. So to this day, and looking back, I'm like, they only have one woman on that label. And you have to put two and two together. Why didn't she sign? Because she was an outstanding rapper. Still, she probably still can rap to this day. She was just outstanding. And, you know, she was a cute girl, always kept herself up, always looked good, smelled good, all of that, you know. So my bubble was kind of bursted at that point in terms of trying to sign with those folks, you know, because you have these dreams in your head like, you know, I'm cute, I can I can rap. I can rap. I can sing. I can dance. You know, I'm the whole package. But they don't. There are some people in this business that they just So anyway, so fast forward a little while after that. This is a hard one, y'all. There's a big reggae festival that happened in the summer in New Orleans, and I don't even know if they have it. They still have it. I think it's called Sunfest or Sumfest or something like that. And this big reggae artist was supposed to be performing there. Now, the night before this person was supposed to perform at that festival, my friend and I were hanging out at a nightclub called Whispers in New Orleans. And anybody from New Orleans they know what I'm talking about. This was the heyday in New Orleans, and Whispers was popping all the time. So, my girl and I were hanging out. I was, we looking cute or whatever. You're in college. Everybody's feeling. And she and I used to work together when I sold cell phones and pagers. So, we're dancing, having a good time or whatever. And I felt somebody, like tap the back of my arm. It's like, okay. So I'm like, trying to leave me alone, whatever. And we're still dancing. So the person tapped my arm again. So I turn around and it's this reggae artist and I guess they were his bodyguards or the guys that, go out with him or whatever. I guess protect him, whatever. And I was like, oh, hey, like that. And, he proposed my hand and he said, come come talk to me, whatever. So we start talking, and he tells me that I'm supposed to perform tomorrow, and was remarking about how I looked or whatever. I had on a cute little, like a long maxi dress, and it showed my shape, yes, but that has nothing to do with nothing. And then we made plans for the next day to go to. Me and my girl made plans, both of us. Now he invited us over to their hotel room to kind of like just chill out and holler right before the festival. So she and I go to the hotel room, and he's in there just chilling, he's fully clothed, everything is on the up and up. I didn't feel any weird energy at all. And we all got to talking or whatever, and she was cool with one of his background singers, who is also now a big dance hall reggae artist. And he and I were talking, we were all talking, and she said, you know what, I'm gonna go holler at my girl down in the other room and leave y'all in here to talk or whatever. So I think she might have sensed that he was liking on me or whatever, and I thought he was attractive or whatever too, and that's cool. But again, that has nothing to do with anything. This was broad daylight. I think it was the Howard Johnson, y'all, if I'm not mistaken. It was on Chef Mentor Highway. It was on a corner. I think they demolished it after Katrina, because it was kind of already, it was going down. But this was when I was in college again. So, I'm in my 20s, early 20s, 21, 22, something like that, 21, something like that. So she leaves and she goes down, to the other spot to holler at your girl. And he and I are just sitting there talking. I'm sitting in a chair, and he, how they had those little mini ironing boards in the hotels, and he's standing there, he's ironing his clothes. So I'm like, oh my God, he's like a regular dude. He's very practical. So we're talking back and forth about music. He was telling me he had 2 kids, 2 boys or whatever, and we were just chopping back and forth. And I told him, I'm a singer, and this and this, and we got to talking about how all music is the same, and we use the same notes, and we're just talking about the differences between dance hall music and American music, and how it all anyway. So we start wrapping up the conversation because it's almost time for him to get in the car or whatever and go to the festival. And his thing was, I got you and your girl for a ticket to the festival, when y'all come. So he was gonna give us passes to go backstage and just, whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So I got up getting ready to leave. Now guys, I remember my outfit like it was yesterday. It was this spaghetti strap tank top and some shorts. They weren't even cut-off shorts. They were like the short shorts that had seams. I had a belt on, so I was dressed, and you never blame the person for what they got on and all this other stuff. Now, New Orleans, this had to be June or July. It was hot. So naturally, I'm not gonna be, all bundled up or whatever. So we opened the door to the hotel room, and we're standing in the actual doorway. He's standing leaning against one side of the doorway, and I'm leaning against the other side of the doorway. So we're talking a little bit more. And I forget exactly what led up to it, but just I think because the spaghetti strap top was just so easy to, and I was braless. It's New Orleans, it's hot, duh. Okay, again, that makes no difference. So and I wonder even if the hotel room they probably did have cameras in that hallway. He takes like the middle of my tank top, he pulls it like this, he pulls it down so he could see my boobs, and I was like, wait, I was like, okay, and it was like it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, okay. I felt a little weird because I nothing up until that point that he did that. It was like a sneak. It was like, where did that even come from? And okay, if you're attracted to somebody, that's one thing, but you have to be invited to, in my eyes, you have to be invited to touch on somebody, that it was weird to me. Looking back at it now, I realized it was assault. You don't put your hands on somebody, and he did what he did so he could see a part of my body naked. You don't do that. This artist, very handsome man to this day. He's still handsome. And I know I believe he's married now. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't, I'm not trying to bust nobody's bubble or whatever. And I don't even understand the statute of limitations and all of that kind of stuff. It matters to me not, but it comes across as these people know I have power over you, or you may be so enthralled with me that I can do anything I want to do to you. So that was one of the situations that kind of took me aback. And with everything that's going on right now, like I said, I never even thought about it as assault, but that's what it was. So again, they know that, you like them as a performer, you like them as an artist. And like I said, I even found him attractive, but when he did that, I didn't even know what to do. And I said, oh, okay. He said, yeah, so y'all come. I said, wait. And, he said, so y'all just, come on to the festival or whatever. So looking back, Yeah, that wasn't cool. It wasn't cool at all. But, you know, that. All right, so another situation that I was in, that I put myself in unbeknownst to me. Got to ATL and I was determined to make it, showcasing. I had a demo that I did in New Orleans with everybody knows dude, but I'm not gonna say his name anyway. But anyway, I did a demo at his house in his home studio back home in New Orleans, so I took that with me. So I was showcasing here in Atlanta, and I did some cold calling to some of the labels here. One of them, big artist, another artist that had people jumping up and down, was on this label, but people didn't even know him just yet. So cold called them, went over and talked to them, thought they were cool or whatever. And I lucked up on another label that I cold called, and the guy said, you know, come on in and talk to me or whatever. So went down to Old Nat Ale. Everybody in the ATL know what that is. Went down to Old Nat Ale, sat with this guy who was, I guess he was like a cold label head or whatever, and it seemed legitimate. So he said, you know, sing to me or whatever. So I sang for him. And he said, you know what? He said, I got an artist. We have an artist that you might be able to sing backup on, because I told him I sang backup on such and such. I work with this. And he said, okay, cool. Well, come. He said, come in. How about you just come to the studio, meet with this artist, and we'll see what's the what. So the guy who actually owned that particular label, y'all, I'm just gonna say that some things were going on at this particular studio that should not have been going on, because I've noticed that a lot of these rappers and labels, they're just cleaning stuff that they've gotten from ill-gotten gains. I'm just gonna put it like that. And this person had people coming in and out, and he had a big bag. I'm just gonna say that. And when I would go there, you know, there was one singer who was a really good singer who sang backup on a big R&B singer's music, and he was awesome on the piano. Met with him, and I finally met with the rapper of this particular song, and he said, hey, he said, I want you to sing back on this, but this song, you know, it needs a hook. So he played the song for me, whatever. Hook, guys, means a chorus. So if I sang it for you, everybody don't know everything. So, but I do have a copy of it. So I wrote the hook and I sang it. I'm just gonna say the name of the song is called Trauma. The song is good. The rapper was good, blah, 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 blah. So I think one day this particular label head, he was sitting at his desk in the office. Guys, everything was everybody was, you know, they were trying to come up whatever as a label. And a lot of times, I like to work with my people on trying to get stuff together. He's sitting at the desk. Yo, he's sitting at the desk. Okay, I go in there, you know, because I would slide through, see what's happening in terms of music or whatever. And I can't remember if this was before I did that or after I did that. So, you know, the guy, never mind how he looked. So he's sitting there and he's got his legs, you know, he's like this. He's got his leg. You know how guys sit. He got his legs cocked open, whatever. He coming there and he giving me this look, you know. You know, hey, how you doing today? You know, like that. And the exchange was supposed to be, I do the hook, I sing the hook, I get studio time. That's usually how you do. You usually have to barter, you know, because most people don't have no money for studio time, especially when you're doing things independently. So he was, without saying it, he was trying to say it. Let's just put it like that. And the guy who was the co-label head, you know, I had to, after that weird experience, that weird exchange between me and that guy, I had to tell him, look, I don't know what's going on here, but I did my part, and I want what we said was going to be the exchange. But I think the label head thought he was gonna finagle his way for me doing something strange in exchange. Let's just put it like that. So that was another experience that I had. Okay, I'm gonna move on. A friend of mine worked for a big law firm here in Atlanta at the time, and she worked under an entertainment lawyer. This entertainment lawyer, he represented big up and coming clients, music artists. So she called me one day. She said, you know what? She said, Vaughn, you know, come meet with, I told my friend about you. He was referring to the attorney. I told my friend about you. And, you know, he's like, yeah, come in here and meet her and meet him, you know. So, went up to the law firm. This was after hours. Now, my friend was still there, guys. She was still there. How the law firm was made is, there's an door opening, bunch of little mini cubicles, and then there's another opening. The offices for the lawyers were on the back wall. His office did not have a window, and her cubicle was all the way down the hall from where his office was. So I get there, you know, she makes an introduction. I say, oh, hey, how you doing? Da, da, da. And, you know, shake his hand, and he says, come on into my office. So she goes to sit back at her desk, and I go into the office with him. Now we go into the office. I go into the office, and he said, go ahead, have a seat. So I'm sitting down. He closes the door, and he goes behind his desk. So, number one, I was like, there's nobody else in this office. Only my friend. She's all the way down the hall. Why do we need to close the door? But when you get nervous, I'm sitting on the chair, but I'm like on the edge of the chair like this, like ready to make an escape if I needed to, because it just felt eerie. So I said, okay. So we start talking, and I tell him about what I want to do. I tell him that I'm a singer, songwriter, da 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 da. And, you know, he said, okay, yeah, all right. So the whole time he's just kind of listening, and he's not really saying much, so it's making me feel a little nervous anyway. And number one, you often feel nervous about someone that can possibly help you take your career to the next level. You're nervous anyway when you meet these kinds of people. And for him, He's an attorney. He's somebody you need on your team to make sure everything goes the way it needs to go. So the whole time we're sitting there, and I'm almost spilling my heart because I'm nervous. Number one, because of who he is. Number two, I'm nervous because I'm in the office with this man. I don't know, why did you need to close the door like that? So we're sitting there, and the whole time, you know, he's just kind of looking at me. You know, he's looking at me. And I don't know if he was trying to assess, does she have what it takes? Or does she have what it takes? You know, I don't know. I didn't know what it was, but it was just, women, we know that feeling when we feel it. So fast forward, he says, you know what? He says, come with me. Follow me in your car to over here. I said, okay. I said, where are we going? And he said, I have some people, you know, I want you to meet. So I get in my car and I follow him to where we go. Now we went over, guys, and it was actually, I was still nervous anyway, but it was cool because I tripped when I was leaving. Anyway, this is one other part. I went to a publishing studio here, in a music publishing studio here in Atlanta. It's Sony. It was Sony. He introduced me to the producer who produced the song Survivor for Destiny's Child. He introduced me to another very big Sony music exec that everybody knows. Nice guy. Gave me his card. I still have his card to this day. And everything was, it felt cool, you know, but again, I was nervous. Like I said, you meet these people and you don't know who they are, but you feel like maybe these people can help me get. And then, you know, when I met the producer behind Destiny's Child, I was like, oh my God, is this okay? You know, it kind of makes you feel excited, but you're still nervous. So that happened. So, you know, get to the car, I tell him, hey, you know, thank you, I really appreciate that. And I was feeling weird about the dude from jump when he brought me in the office and closed the door, and I was like, why is he closing the door? This doesn't make any sense. Nobody else. Anyway, so fast forward a couple of months later, the attorney invites my girlfriend and me to his home down in South Georgia. Got there, it's a beautiful home, and little did I know there were all kinds of people who would become who they are today, now that I know them, at the pool party in that room. It was like a pool party. He has a pool, beautiful home, beautiful wife. So I get there, we're hanging out, and there's one big artist. She's acting now, but she was a part of a girl group that he represented, and I didn't know at the time. I didn't know who all these people were. I was nervous. I didn't know who was who. So I was just kind of sitting quiet, looking around, looking at everybody. And it seemed like a really good time. I felt like, you know, you're around your peers, people who are creative. But again, y'all, I was kind of quiet, and I'm still a little quiet, to be honest with you, because I'm always observant. Let's just put it like that. So a couple months later after that, guys, this attorney, my girlfriend calls me on the phone. I can remember I'm on 85 coming from work when I worked in downtown Atlanta. And she said, Vaughn, you haven't heard? You haven't been watching the news? And I said, huh? She said, such and such. She said his name here, his name. She said, girl, he just took his wife's life. He took his wife's father's life, and he took his own life. The first thing I thought, guys, to be honest with y'all, is I was in a room with this guy with the door closed. Now, the experience going over to the publishing house was fine, but like I said, I felt something eerie when I was sitting in the office with him. All this happened within the span of 2 years. Me meeting him, me going to the place, going to his place, to the publishing place, then going to his home for the party, then that happening. And you don't know. Again, your intuition is very powerful. I felt something while I was sitting in that office. I felt something. When I went to the house for the party, met his wife, they just seemed like such a lovely couple, like everything was all well, fine, and good. But apparently it was not. So that's another one of those weird situations that I have experienced in the entertainment business, trying to get into music. Wow. So guys, fast forward, I ended up signing with an independent label, and I was on that label for a year. I went in, you know, he signed like 30 people, which didn't make any sense to me. You know, I was there for him, helping him, organizing and doing admin work at his label. And for some reason, this guy did not want to, he was trying to record multiple people at one time. And it didn't make any sense to me, because if you got to bounce something up against the wall and see what sticks. So I eventually found out, after sitting on that label for a year, that he didn't have the money that he said he had, because his partner, his wife, had, from what I understood, she had other ideas for what was supposed to happen with that money, and he had some ideas for what was supposed to happen with that money, and again, I guess they couldn't agree. So got myself up out of that. I was working in the corporate world in real estate, so I said, okay, this is something that you really want to do. So I went on ahead and invested in myself while I was working corporate world. I paid a band, I paid for studio time. I finally finished up the CD, which is right here. I finished up the CD, and unfortunately, by the time it was finished, I had lost my job, because this was the time during the real estate crash here in Atlanta. And you know, you work in real estate. I worked in foreclosures. I worked in commercial real estate. I've done a couple of different things. And I said, okay, well, you just don't have the money to market and promote what you want. So my CD has been sitting, guys, but it won't be sitting for much longer. Thank God I made timeless music, because I am going to be putting it on a stream somewhere sometime soon. So I'm probably going to do it EP style, and hopefully you guys will hear about it and you like it. So fast forward, I did my first background work in terms of TV and film on The Fighting Temptations. It was my very first background work. We did an overnight shoot. It was something else. It was something to see. We had to all be dressed like 80s characters, and I enjoyed it. It was overnight. It was like an all-nighter kind of thing, but you know, I did what needed to be done. I've done background work on, gosh, I think over 50 TV shows and movies. I've done Hunger Games, Single Ladies. I did 42 with Chadwick Boseman. I did Rectify. Now, guys, on Rectify, and I didn't even know, because I would be doing background work so much that I wasn't even going back to look at what it was that I was a part of, to be honest with you. Rectify is a TV show with Clayne Crawford. I was the very first face, the first shot in episode number 1. I went back, I said, oh my God, I guess I gave them the right look. But anyway, you know, that I did multiple Tyler Perry movies and TV shows. Background, I also did The Devil's Knot with Reese Witherspoon and Colin Firth. It was so cool because I got to sit next to Colin Firth in one of the scenes, and they got a good shot of me right behind Reese Witherspoon in the movie as well. Guys, I've done a lot. So eventually I got into a big Facebook group here in Atlanta where all of the different, you know, in the film and TV Facebook group, and I met my ex-fiance who passed.